Welcome to Melachim II, chapter 14, perek Yudalid. Remember King Yoash, who became a king at the age of 7, as he was saved from his wicked mother Azaria. Then he had a successful reign. He was under the influence of Yehoiada HaKohen, and eventually he was assassinated. Well, his son Amatzia becomes the king, and he grows stronger and stronger. He follows in the path of his father. He keeps the people righteous, but does not prevent them from bringing sacrifices wherever they want. And when he's strong enough, he brings karma into action, and he punishes those who threw a coup against his own father. Unfortunately, this King Amatzia becomes kind of overconfident. He's a bit too arrogant or too confident, or honestly just having bad ideas. And he sends a messenger to the king of Israel, north of him to King Yehoash, son of Yoachaz, and he says to him, why don't you bring it on? You ever see someone do that in a really not smart way, try and have a duel or a violent encounter? Well, that's what he does, but it's between two kingdoms, not just any two kingdoms. It's between the kingdom of Yehuda and Yisrael. We're brothers, we're all the same people. Why would you want a war between Yehuda and Yisrael? That's like not necessary. And so he says, why don't you come and fight a war with you? So this is with us. So Amatzia, the king of Yehuda, sends to Yoash, the king of Israel. He says, let's see, why don't you, I dare you, right? You ever see those bad, terrible dares? He says, I dare you to come to a war with me, and it's a very bad idea. And Yoash, the king of Israel, says to him, once upon a time, there was a little prickle. A little, you ever see those little bushes that are prickly? Nothing, they don't grow fruit, they're just little prickles. And the little prickle sent a letter to the cedar tree in the Lebanon saying, come fight with me. And he tells him, you Amatzia, you got too arrogant. You had a few military successes against Edom, which is a weak nation, and now you think you're going to beat me, the people of Israel, 10 tribes? And he says, forget it. But nonetheless, they end up going for a war, and in a way this is a civil war, right? It's between all Jews. It's between the kingdom of Yehuda and the kingdom of Israel. The war takes place in Beit Shemesh. Yisrael are so successful in their defeat of Yehuda. They crush Yehuda. They go to Jerusalem. They take all the gold and silver. They breach the wall. They smash the wall. 400 amot of that wall get demolished. And it's really and they take hostages, a lot of hostages. They really hurt Amatzia, and then they go back. They don't kill Amatzia. Now, at this point, the people of Yehuda realize this Amatzia guy isn't the greatest for them, and so they kind of overthrow him, and they have a coup against him, and he sent away his son. His son then becomes king, and his son Yerovam, who's obviously has the name of, then his son Azaria, the son of Amatzia, becomes the king in the lifetime of his father. His father acted really, really irresponsibly, and so he becomes king. So Amatzia is replaced by his son Azaria. Now, put your camera back on the kingdom of Yisrael, where Yoash, the king of Israel, who was very successful, dies, and his son Yerovam becomes king. Not a great name to give a child. Remember Yerovam the first? Ouch, that was not a good kingdom. He caused a lot of division and sin. But nonetheless, this Yerovam is very successful. He returns Jewish independence all the way from Eilat, presumably Eilat that you know on the Red Sea, all the way up north to the Golan. So it's really, he brings back Israel from north to south. And it says that really God did not forsake his people Israel, and God saw how they've been clobbered before by Achaz, the Damascus kingdom. And so Yerovam, who's not the most righteous guy, nonetheless returns the border of Israel. And then he dies, and he's succeeded by his son Zechariah. That has been chapter 14, perek Yudalid of Divrei Hayamim. of Melachim Bet. Thank you for joining us, and I will see you in the next chapter, chapter 15.